In 2026, marinas from Florida to the Mediterranean will overflow, not with luxury, but with panic-sold yachts no one dares to buy. Resale values go into a freefall as electric boats render old designs obsolete, and moorage costs eclipse the worth of the boats themselves. Behind the glossy marketing lies a fast-building storm that could destroy the value of 10 once-coveted models. What is driving wealthy owners to abandon their investments, and which boats are about to become financial traps? Buyers in 2026 face a market split by costs and caution. On one side, new-build yachts command a staggering 40% premium over brokerage listings, pricing out all but the most determined buyers. On the other, pre-owned boats, especially those without modern propulsion or energy systems, sit unsold, their owners squeezed by operating expenses that now outpace any hope of a profitable sale. The numbers tell the story. A new 55-foot flybridge yacht that cost $2 million in 2022 now lists at $2.8 million, while an equivalent brokerage model, lightly used and just 3 years old, struggles to attract offers above $1.6 million. The gap between new and used has never been wider. Marina economics only deepen the divide. In major yachting hubs, slip fees have climbed steadily, tracking inflation and surging fuel prices. In Miami, Newport Beach, and Seattle, annual moorage for a 60-foot berth now tops $25,000, sometimes more than the annual depreciation of the boat itself. Owners who bought during the pandemic rush now find their vessels stranded, unable to cover the costs of keeping them afloat. Across the U.S., 20 to 40% of marina slips are filled with neglected or near-derelict boats, many abandoned as fees and maintenance bills climb. California alone reports 4,000 to 5,000 derelict vessels each year, with public removal programs struggling to keep pace. For those looking to sell, liquidity has all but vanished for anything less than a pristine, future-proofed vessel. Will Christie, a leading broker, describes brokerage listings for older or inefficient yachts as a ghost town without bids. Any deviation from the latest technology or a premium pedigree is punished by months, sometimes years, on the market. The result is a selective, almost ruthless environment. Only the best-kept, most efficient boats command attention, while the rest drift toward financial oblivion. The pressure is clear. Rising operational costs, fuel, crew, insurance, and storage, combine with the threat of new electric and hybrid models to drain demand for traditional boats. For owners, every month brings a new bill and a shrinking pool of buyers. For brokers, the days of easy sales are over. The market has spoken. In 2026, liquidity is a privilege reserved for those who can afford the future, not the past. Florida's marinas now resemble graveyards as much as gateways to the sea. Rows of neglected hulls crowd the docks, their owners long gone or simply unwilling to keep paying. State records show nearly 3,000 derelict boats scattered across Florida waters. Since March 2023, officials have removed only 155 of these abandoned vessels, with dozens more waiting for a final tow. The backlog grows each month, outpacing the capacity of public programs and leaving marinas choked with liabilities. The math driving these walkaways is as stark as the scene itself. For many, the cost to repower a mid-sized yacht, installing new diesel engines, or modernizing outdated systems now exceeds $100,000. Lenders and insurers, wary of sinking more money into aging assets, are pulling back and leaving owners with few options. When annual moorage, insurance, and maintenance outstrip the resale value of the boat, the economic logic becomes brutal. Owners simply leave the keys and walk away, pushing the burden onto marina operators and ultimately the public. Florida's Vessel Turn-In program, designed to curb environmental hazards and clear navigation channels, has become a lifeline for overwhelmed marinas. Yet even with official intervention, the pace of removals lags behind the tide of new abandonments. State officials prioritize the most dangerous or polluting cases, but many slips remain clogged by sun-bleached hulls that no longer justify their storage fees. The problem is not confined to Florida. Across the U.S., estimates suggest 15,000 to 25,000 derelict boats now idle in marinas, with California reporting 4,000 to 5,000 neglected vessels each year. In the Pacific Northwest, Washington's removal program quadrupled its budget to $10 million, pulling 319 boats from the water in a single biennium. Still, operators report 20 to 40% of slips filled with vessels that will never see open water again. Roger Holm, a marine engineer and president at Wärtsilä, describes the life cycle trap. He says older ships that have been well maintained can outperform younger vessels. But without ongoing investment, you are left with a stranded asset, years before its time. For many owners, the calculus is simple. When the cost of keeping a boat afloat eclipses its market value, abandonment becomes a rational, if desperate, exit. The result is a visible, growing inventory of unsellable boats, each one a warning to those who ignore the true cost of ownership. Leopard's 53 Power Cat, once a darling of the charter fleets, now faces a reality few anticipated. Fleet operators are offloading these boats in bulk, driving resale prices down nearly 40% within 5 years. The promise of affordable entry has vanished as hybrid and electric Power Cats leap ahead, leaving diesel models to languish on brokerage lists. Insurance premiums for these mid-size cats have climbed sharply, erasing any cost advantage for private buyers. Galeon's 640 Fly, known for its striking lines and event-friendly layouts, has not escaped the saturation. The first year alone wipes out up to 20% of its value, and the losses compound quickly. Owners who bought into the niche of floating entertainment venues now face a market with too many similar listings and not enough demand. With production outpacing absorption, even well-maintained examples can sit unsold for months, their price tags quietly slashed. Serena's 58 and 68 models, Turkish-built and once celebrated for their semi-displacement hulls, now struggle under the weight of innovation. U.S. charter operators, flush with pandemic-era inventory, have flooded the market. Projected losses reach 40%, and days on market stretch past 120. Newer, more efficient models from rivals accelerate the decline, turning yesterday's breakthrough into today's liability. Azimut's flybridge range from 50 to 66 feet, long a staple of Mediterranean and U.S. coastal marinas, is caught in the crossfire of rising fuel costs and rapid tech cycles. Early buyers absorb up to 45% depreciation in just 3 years. Lenders scrutinize these models, wary of the ongoing operating burden and the need for expensive refits to stay competitive. Fountaine Pajot's MI5 and MI6 Power Cats round out the lower risk end of the doomed spectrum. Charter fleet saturation and high insurance rates have triggered a 40% decline from original price. As electric options expand and buyers demand future-proofed systems, these models risk being trapped in a shrinking niche, their value eroding with each passing season. Celine's 54-foot trawler, once prized for long passages, now sits unwanted. Owners who spent over $1 million face losses of $150,000 to $200,000, even for well-maintained boats. The Pacific Northwest is crowded with these diesels, but buyers and insurers have shifted to electric, leaving older models stranded. Supply chains have stabilized, but demand for traditional engines has not returned. Katie Krogan's 44 to 52-foot models, especially from 2008 to 2010, have suffered a 40 to 45% drop in resale value. Annual depreciation now reaches 15%. Lenders hesitate, wary of financing aging hulls with high running costs and uncertain futures. Many owners must choose between expensive repowers or accepting deep losses. Prestige 590S and 690 models, once popular for bonus depreciation, now flood the market. Charter operators from the Riviera to the U.S. East Coast are offloading these boats, fueling a 40 to 50% value slide in just 5 years. Outdated systems and engines drive buyers to newer, more efficient yachts, while listings pile up with little interest. Fairline's Squadron and Targa series, especially mid-size models, have seen up to 45% depreciation in 3 years. High fuel and insurance costs have pushed these yachts out of reach, and brokers report swelling inventories across the US and Europe. At the bottom, Bayliner wake models like the VR6 face a one-season collapse. Auction and dealer data confirm losses of 40% or more after just a year, driven by oversupply and the rise of electric wake boats. Lenders increasingly refuse to finance these models. This is the sharpest warning. Some boats lose half their value before summer ends. Today, a single shift in technology or policy can erase decades of value overnight. As electric boats redefine the market, yesterday's luxury becomes tomorrow's liability. In a world chasing innovation, even the rich cannot outpace obsolescence. What will you do when your asset turns into an anchor?